Hello everybody, this is Gareth Coon Speaks, back here with another video. I'm sorry I haven't been here in a few days, but it's because I've been unwell with an infection in my urine. Um, so if I could ask you to pray for me, it would be greatly appreciated. You could look me up at my website, which is www.garethcahoon.co.uk, or if you like the ministry, you can support it at garethcahoon3@gmail.com on PayPal. This one is about the brave Iranian people. 2,000 Iranians dead, millions committed to final battle as regime uses military weapons on its people. Jerusalem, Israel, now in its seventh day, the fighting continues by millions of Iranians to overthrow the Islamic Republic of Iran. Protesters are calling out for the West to help, and especially President Trump. Despite a nearly total internet blackout for days, foreign militias enlisted to fight the protesters and live ammunition in the streets. Iranians continue to fill cities throughout Iran, such as Isfahan and Tehran, with their cries for freedom and a plea to the West. Activists say the death toll from the nationwide protest has spiked to more than 2,000 people killed. The US-based human rights activist news agency reports 1,847 protesters have been killed over the past few weeks, and 135 government-affiliated people have died as well. Juliana Talmourisi, founder and president of the Iraqi Christian Relief Council, described the cry of the protesters, "Please come and help us." The next few hours are critical. Their eyes are on Israel. Their eyes are on America. They're begging, they're pleading with us to assist. Most protesters are looking for the assistance from President Trump. On Monday, the president imposed a 25% tariff on nations that trade with Iran, with more options on the table. He is scheduled to meet with advisors on Tuesday to determine the next steps for the US after the State Department issued a warning for the Americans in Iran to leave now. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite different from the messages the administration is receiving privately. And I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran. Iran claims it is ready for talks with the US based on mutual respect, but this is what the Iranians call a hudna, and a hudna is a way for them when they're weak to pass the time and do speaking engagements to pass the time so they can get away with the evil that they're continuing to do. But some warn that the regime is simply buying time to brutally crush the protesters. Reports from inside the country indicate that the death toll is staggering. Iranian-American journalist Carmel Melamed told CBN News, "My sources have been telling me it's a slaughterhouse. There are rivers of blood. That's why my source has been telling me." In Tehran alone, he said, and added, "A lot of regime forces have been perched on top of buildings and in many cases mowing down people from above. Snipers from inside of buildings have been shooting protesters. The mosques," Melamed reports, "have become flashpoints. They're targeting the mosques in some of these Islamic centres because the regime and the IRG thugs are using them as bases of operations. Command and control," he observed, "and the protesters are saying, no, we're not going to allow the regime to use these sites to focus their attacks on them. We're going to firebomb them. We're going to set them ablaze. We're not. This is a full-on war by the people against the regime." Mela believes the war is escalating. In the last 4 days, the protests have gotten even more intense. There were thousands in the streets based on the videos that I have seen. The protesters have grown into millions in Tehran, Mashhad, Kashmir, Hamadan, Isfahan, all the major cities, literally millions pouring into the streets, he said. Melamed continued, people are saying that this is it. We're at the end of the rope. We're at the end of the line. And the question I keep getting from the folks in Iran is, President Trump, so you said you were going to come and help us. Where are you? We're getting slaughtered. Where is America? Where is Israel? Despite the perils, the protesters say that this is the final battle, according to Melamed. There's a lot of hope, he reported. They're saying we're not giving up. We've got nothing to lose. They've got an infinite number of bullets, but our numbers of the people are way higher. There are 90 million people in Iran right now. Even if 1 million or 2 million continue the protests, it's game over for the regime. They can't kill everyone. It's only a matter of if the US and Israel and the West is going to set up and stop the slaughter. Talmuzi says this hinge of history for Iran and the Middle East needs prayers. We must pray for the safety of these young men and women who are in prison. Pray for the families of the deceased. Pray for those that are brave, that have taken to the streets. We must pray for divine wisdom for Bibi Netanyahu, for the European Parliament, and for President Trump. We don't need to worry about Keir Starmer because he's illiterate and a little stand-up puppet who is Tony Blair puppet in the government of Labour, and his regime needs to fall just like Iran's does. But not talking about Britain at the minute. The Iranian people are some of the most bravest people I have ever seen in my life. The way that they're fighting with their fingers against people with automatic rifles, machine guns, and every type of bomb that you could think of, and they're fighting with their own hands. It is such an amazing thing to see the bravery of these people. And the women of Iran are taking their head scarves off and shaking their heads to show their hair in defiance of the Islamic regime, which has told the women to cover up so that the men don't get lust when they see their naked bodies. To me, it's the men that need their heads sorted out, not the women. And as far as the Ayatollah Khomeini goes, he's nothing but a paedophile in the shape of a tyrannic leader who deserved to spend the rest of his life in the pits of hell for what he's done to these brave Persian people. I won't call them Iranians because they don't consider themselves Iranians or Muslim. They consider themselves proud Persians. And Bibi Netanyahu and Trump, get your finger out and get over to Iran and bomb the hell out of the public buildings, the palaces of Ayatollah Khomeini, the Revolutionary Guards Corps sites, the electricity sites, the rocket building sites, all the sites that will bring this regime to its knees quicker, because these people are dying in numbers that are unseen in many, many years. I seen the bodies last night in a video and it was disgusting what they're doing to their own people. These people don't care about the Iranians. All they care about is taking out Israel and taking out the United States. That is all they see. That's all that is between their eyes. And they'll have hell to pay because of it. Shalom, Maranatha, and Hallelujah.